there is some advertisement open somewhere. On a side note, Charlie has passed over the torch.
Oh, okay.
I do believe we might be live now. Let me check.
Oh, looks like we are.
Appear to be
do
live.
you know what? I meant to try and zoom the chat, and I've forgotten how to do that. I meant to check not chat, the text.
Oh, the text.
Yeah. I've forgotten how to do it, and I won't fiddle with it now.
The Spotted Cow is here and says, hello, Sal, and MRE. Which I believe is a military ration edibles? What does the E stand
MRE.
for?
Yeah, can't remember. All right, well, we'll just give people just a few minutes while we let people wander their way over to stream if they're around.
Meal ready to eat. This does not sound as cool as what I came up with at first. Meal ready to eat. Really? What about military ration things? Edifices? No, wait, that's not good. It just sounds a lot better than meal ready to eat. Virtually any cooked meal is an MRE then. Where's the fun in that?
What's all this here? I've got a load of things of crap that needs to be dumped. Let's just get them doing that while
I forgot to check all of the things.
Check all of what things?
The things, like...
I'm not tanning my hides fast enough.
Silent Assassin waves us. Hello, thank you. I do believe you were keeping Charlie company. Thank you for that. I got to enjoy some wonderful garlic bread in the meantime. Garlic bread.
Why am I not getting chat?
Did you try reloading it? It might still be the previous chat session. Just hit F5.
F5.
Oh no, you switched over to Charlie's chat by raiding. Yeah. Just go up into the address field and just replace Charlie with your name. I know, complicated. It would have probably been far more straightforward to just open another window. Sound is a bit quiet.
That might be because I was leaning away from the microphone while I was looking at the
I think he's
chat.
referring to the suave music. Hold on.
I can turn the music down.
No, turn it up, he means, because the music is very, very quiet.
Oh, the music's very quiet.
Yes. We sound adequate, I can tell. I've got the lines to prove it. Did she turn down the audio because of noise earlier on?
Maybe.
Might have.
It's quite loud in my ears.
Never mind. I'll just turn it up over here. There, that should do it. That's about half.
Okay, how does that sound for everybody?
Oh, our voices are quiet. Well, that's a doozy. I'll turn that down again. Maybe try turning us up.
See, I'll turn music down a touch, because the music's nice in the background. And it's contextual music, so, but yeah.
Oh, so we do get dramatic music?
When
dramatic things happen?
Yeah, the music, well, let's say it's contextual. Changes according to the seasons and according to what's going on.
So once we get a horde of goblins, it just goes to tribal goblin music.
Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum,
Speaking of which, I am actually expecting that any minute. That's I've chosen, rather than start a new game, I thought it'd be good to pick up this fort that I've been playing, because this is absolutely primed for invasion. And let's see, are we ready for a tour of the fort?
I do believe so. We do have a couple of people in chat, and I think we've waited long enough.
Okay.
So show us around. What's this glorious fort called?
Okay.
I know, I start off with the most difficult question.
I don't actually know the name of my fort.
Spotted Cow calls it the Fortress of Death.
Yeah. Oh, and Boris is here. Hello, Boris.
Hello, Boris.
Do you know
Welcome.
what? I could probably even get chat sat here. Let me see if I can do that.
You could. But then everybody can see the chat. But they're already chatting.
Oh no, I can't make the window narrow enough, unfortunately. It'd take up too much screen. Yeah. Oh, right. So a little bit of a guide on Dwarf Fortress first. For anybody who's not seen Dwarf Fortress before, it works on map layers. So we can go up and down in the world. We have a god's eye view. So if I go up in the world, we will see the treetops. Here we go. So going up and up and up into the sky. We're floating way above the very tops of the trees. And if I go back down towards the ground, anything that is higher than we are, we don't see. It's above us. So it's probably, if I zoom in a bit, that'll feel more like it. So here we see the trunk of a tree. Here we see the branches of a tree. Here we are halfway through a tree. We can see a slice through the tree. So we see branches and some leaves. But if we go upwards again, we can see that the branches cover the tops.
It also looks like we're very short-sighted.
And there's the base of the trunk.
Because we automatically lose sight of the ground if we just go up a few meters.
Well, we're dwarves. So we're probably only about 1 meter high.
Oh, wow.
So each of these things, you know, to go above the trees is a really high distance for a dwarf. So what we have here, I've built a bit of a mega fort. I've got a population cap of about 100 people. And we're at 100 people. So down here in the bottom corner, you can see that this is about the happiness of my people. And we have 96 people who are feeling quite okay. And 3 people who are feeling quite fabulous. 2 people who think it's the best place ever. So we are just over 100 people. So I'm not expecting to see any new migrants join us. Up here is a pasture area for my animals. And around the edge here is a wall, so people can't shoot in. If we get any invaders, they can't just shoot in at my animals. And if I go up a level, you can see here I've got some stairs. Those stairs are going upwards, where I'm starting to build a roof.
Actually turning it into a fortress
Yeah,
rather than just
absolutely.
an underground cave.
And then around the edge of the roof, I'm actually putting a bit of extra wall, just so that if people are up here and working when we get attacked,
They don't fall off.
well, people can't shoot at them then. Invaders can't shoot at them.
That too.
Yeah. Over here, I've got a couple of hives. They're just starting. I've just got some bees in the hives. Got a big wood stockpile. Now, this is a rather big base. This is a huge area. So let me zoom out a little bit so you can see the full extent of the fort. This is my refuse and corpse area. At the moment, we've got no corpses to put in there. I think that will change rather soon.
Oh, you're taking after me and having a corpse shed. On a side note, Boris says that this makes so much more sense now. He was watching last year's stream and he had no idea what was going on. Yeah, it does help.
Yeah, anything that is white with edges on, they're the walls. Now, these ones here with all of the fancy bits on, that's because I've made some fortifications. They're arrow slits. And that's not because I expect to be shooting through from either side of this. It's so that if I eventually put a whole roof on this area, my bees will still be able to get out to the outside world, because I'm going to leave this bit uncovered. And there's a reason for that, which I shall explore as we go down. So let's go down inside the base. My dwarves get in and out through this hatch here. I've only got one way in and out. Over here is 3 stations, 3 workshops. So here we have a butcher's shop. I keep the butchers outside because they're smelly and it upsets the dwarves if we get like bad smells inside the base. And here is a fishery, same thing. So
may I ask a question before you go down? What's that game of Minesweeper in the lower left corner?
The lower left corner.
Game of Minesweeper, a little inside the fortress with the 2s and 3s.
Oh, this.
Game of Minesweeper.
So when you see numbers like this, it tells you that it's water. And it's telling you the depth of the water. So a fully filled tile of water is a depth of 7. So this is a shallow puddle. They can drown in about, well, actually, I mean, a dwarf who can't swim can drown in like a level 2 if he really tries. But it's not really dangerous for them, but it's not really much use either. It's just that it was in my way, so I had to expand around it. And if worst comes to worst, we could always use it as a water source, but I've dealt with water source. Here, so these workshops are always 3x3. Here's another workshop. I've got 3 upstairs. This one has got instructions to shear animals. So these are all of my animals here. I've got goats and yaks and sheep and water buffaloes and donkeys and peahens and peacocks, and there's a goose and all kinds of things that I don't really want. I brought some sheep with me on purpose so that we'd have some wool to make clothes, because again the dwarves get really unhappy if their clothes start wearing out.
But the others just accidentally stumbled in here.
Well, people bring them as pets, and if you slaughter their pets, they get really unhappy. Now, almost every fortress I've played, when I've been defeated, because that's the whole idea of Dwarf Fortress, is that losing is fun. It's all about how you lose the game, because it will, the longer you play and the stronger you get, the worse the enemies will be that you encounter. But the worst enemy that you will face is yourself. Your dwarves will slowly go mad no matter what you do. So I'm focusing on a base to keep my dwarves happy, because the longer we go, the more interesting, the more fun the opponents get. And we're just at that point where the base now has enough wealth and enough people that we should be attracting some serious attention from the neighbours. The Dwarf Fortress is primarily a world simulator, and we just making our little way in this massive world, and with all of its civilizations that have all their own histories and stories of their own. So all kinds of things are going on out there. Civilizations are at war with each other. There's beasts and things. It's relatively early in the history of the world. We're still in the age of myth. That means that there could be everything from unicorns to hydras and chimeras and trolls and all kinds of mythical beasts, which can be really quite difficult to deal with. The last game I played, I got attacked by a dragon, which we dealt with largely by letting other people throw themselves at it while I kept my dwarf safe. And I think eventually I got attacked by some goblins at the same time, and the goblins managed to kill the dragon, but it set the world on fire. And that just killed my frame rate because the fire burned for 3 years. So let's go deeper into the base. Let's just see what chat's saying.
Well, first off, say hello to Cell Technology.
Hi, Cell.
Who wishes us a Happy New Year. Happy New Year
Happy
to
New Year
you
to you too.
Assuming you have it already. Also, Xeron and Giles Price have stumbled into the chat.
Hey, hello.
Giles is trying out the salt command, which unfortunately at the moment does not work. I did not prepare this, not out of malice, but I just forgot. And Xeron is currently experiencing some weird problems where he can't say Sal or Mir on YouTube because it's getting censored. Obviously, YouTube has found out that we are very offensive people. Also, Charlie97 is back. Thank you for streaming. And thank you for letting me enjoy my garlic bread.
Indeed. So I have just moved down a couple of layers into my fortress. I'll just go back over that again. So here's our farming layer. If we go down one flight of stairs, this area I haven't done anything with. There's our staircase there, and this is a pit. So if we have a look up here, you can see there's a little hole just there, and that hole drops down into this pit. And that pit and the staircase carry on down another layer. This is a layer of clay. We might do something with that. But what I wanted to hit was some proper soil. And so this is a layer of soil, which is why it's this weird orangey colour, because it's loam. And this is where my pit ends. And what I'm doing is I'm dropping all of the corpses and refuse down into a hole into this pit. It's open to the air, so any like decomposition gases can escape. But one problem I've had in the past is a necromancer come along and reanimate all of the corpses in my stockpile, which then turned hostile against me, and I ended up with things like the dead hand of the dead paw of a cat crawling along the floor and scratching my dwarves in the feet while they were trying to fight off goblins and things. So this is my farming layer. These are a couple of farms, plenty enough there. We have a still to keep our dwarves in beer. That's very important. Dwarves can go without food for a long time, but they can't go without beer. That'll turn them mad in no time. We are making some meals. We've got lots of... oh, that reminds me. Remind me to do something about rendering the fat in a minute.
Shall do. Are you open for some questions? Sure. Sam Assassin would like to know, do you need a beefy PC to play Dwarf Fortress?
No, you can, because the game is scalable. You decide how big a world you want and how many dwarves you want to play with. You can put population caps and everything. So the bigger the PC you've got, the bigger the world, the more civilizations, the more dwarves. So, but yeah, you can play it on a relatively small thing and it'll cope with it quite well.
Also, what's the grey rectangle around the fortress? Is that a moat?
It's a moat, yeah. It's a trench.
Without water?
I shall get down to that. Well, water is not necessarily a good way to defend yourself, because water can spawn things like crocodiles and stuff. So, and dwarves are not very good with water. They have a tendency to drown very easy. They're not good swimmers. So yes, this is my farming, beer, producing room. This is a place that just makes cheese. I've got two little compounds with turkeys in. One that just makes eggs. The other one's that hatch turkeys. So the dwarves, let me just check. We'll just close that up close the door so that no one can get in to take the eggs, and they'll produce more turkeys. So yeah, we've just had a bunch of baby turkeys hatch. I've moved those over here, and here's the last brood, which I am just slowly butchering. Let's just butcher some turkeys while we're here. So these are all of my pets, and if I say search on turkeys, and we'll go from the bottom, because that way I'm not likely to butcher anything that's a breeding turkey. Just take out another 5 of them.
That looked so spreadsheety and I loved it.
Yeah, it's very... so anyone who's old enough to, or has used systems old enough to be used to Unix, it's actually quite intuitive once you get used to it. This is my steed stockpile. I've got cats all over the place. So see all these little creatures, they're all cats, and they keep down the vermin. In here I've also got some pigs. Pigs are one of the few animals that you can keep indoors that don't need pasture. So I'm breeding those up so that we can make leather and pork out of those. Right, let's go down an extra layer. This is just a stockpile room where all of my main goods for trading and anything that I don't have anywhere else, and all of this black area is just stuff I can expand into. So my base is only half built. That's why there's all of these little lumps of rock and stuff around the place. It's a very untidy base. It's still being sorted out and tidied up, and they're still digging bits out. We go down another layer. Now this is the area that we'll probably be focusing on during this stream. This is my entrance. I've put the entrance to my base really far underground. So let me tell you what we're looking at here. In the middle is a trade depot. We actually have some traders here at the moment. We had some dwarves come... Dwarves or humans? Oh, humans. Yeah, human traders. I was going to say dwarves usually come in autumn. So the humans turned up with a trade caravan. That's the brown thing. It's flashing because there's lots of things all stood on one space. The brown thing is their trade caravan. You can see that there's trade goods and people all sort of flashing on top of each other there, and they've got a spearman in front.
Can you zoom in on that just to make out some detail on what they're actually carrying? Oh, you can see the human.
Yeah. So you can see there's a yak. They've brought a yak to pull their cart. There's a swordsman there and a swordsman there. That's a guy carrying a whip. He's a lasher.
Hold on. One of those guys is standing on top of a yak, so he's riding it?
It just means he's in the same square.
Oh, no. I wanted them to ride the yak.
Well, people can ride creatures. The guy carrying the money bags is the trader. We've already dealt with him. You can see that there's gems and bags of stuff, and there's bits of furniture and rope and all kinds of things. So they brought all their goods and unloaded them onto my trade depot. I took down a load of goods and put them on the trade depot too. We did a bunch of trading.
May I ask a question? Yeah. You say this is your entrance, although this is several meters underneath the earth. How did the cart get in there?
Well, let me show you. So I'm going to zoom right out now, so that you can see my tunnel network. Now, dwarves, as time goes on, the first dwarves that you start off with, you start with 7 dwarves, and they're not too bad about being outdoors. They slowly develop a dislike. They really, really hate the rain. And this particular place in the world has a wet season, so I needed to make sure they were indoors. And outdoors is a scary, dangerous place. So what I've found is that if I build a network of tunnels, and I'll expand these tunnels so that people never need to go onto the surface, we can keep them underground. And as time goes on, they get more and more affected by the sunlight. And so keeping them underground to keep them happy is a bit of a double-edged sword, because the longer they're underground, the more unhappy they are when they go outdoors. Now,
I can relate to these dwarves.
These squarey, circly things that you can see here are all drawbridges. There's a lot of creatures that can destroy doors. So I have doors here. So if we get attacked, things can just run down into my tunnels, and some creatures can just break through my doors. And so what I have is a bunch of trapdoors, of drawbridges. Nothing can break a drawbridge as long as you've got it closed in time. So I have 2 drawbridges here. That's like my backstop safety. If I pull the levers on those, nothing can get in or out of the base unless they fly through my ceiling, which I haven't finished building yet. But up here I have, for each of these tunnels, I have a drawbridge close to to our base, and then another one out at the far end of the tunnel, which is, if we go up and up and up in the world here. So the triangles are ramps. So the ramps tell you that people can walk up and down, and that is the very edge of the map on that side. So I've got a tunnel network. The stairs were just so that the dwarves could climb out to dig this bit.
You built a parking garage underground.
Going back underground again. Here we go. And what I have up by the open entrance is, in each area, I've just got some dogs or puppies in a stabled up there. They're sort of told to stay in a certain area, and basically they're sort of like my mine canaries. If something bad comes down that we haven't spotted, they'll attack the dogs first. So I brought 2 female and 1 male dogs with me with my 7 dwarfs, and all I've been doing is positioning those 3 dogs in various places until they have puppies. And as soon as they've got male and female puppies, then I move them onto another area. So yep, up here we have more puppies. As you can see, some of the puppies have actually grown into adult dogs now. So I think we are just into the 3rd year, the start of the 3rd year here. Here I have, if I go up in the world again, you can see one of those tunnels goes into my trench, and the other tunnel leads up just to the outside close area of the base. And this is a little bolt hole, so that if any dwarves are outside, they don't actually need to go to the edge of the map to collect a piece of wood that's fallen outside the base or something, just so that we have a way of getting in and out close by.
So this is a ladder, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I have drawbridges here and here as well, so that I can seal those off. The doors and the hatches outside, they can be destroyed by creatures that can destroy buildings, but The majority of creatures can't, so I put the doors in anyway, just because it means that my dwarves can run in quickly, and it will slow down any invaders while they get to the lever system, because we've got to pull levers to get them to close these drawbridges, and they can take a long time about that. And this is my extra long tunnel which goes out to the far southwest of the map, where I've just put the breeding dogs. So waiting for them to have some puppies down there, and then we'll move them somewhere else to breed some more pups.
Giles wants to know, if you start with 7 dwarfs, does that mean Sal is now Snow White?
Yeah. Either that or the Wicked Witch. So this is the area I've been focusing on developing, because I've been working on the concept of having a defensible base rather than a military installation. So I haven't really set up my military, so I've just about we've just dug a barracks, so that's what this room is going to be. We've put some beds in and some containers. That's why there's so much rock on the floor though, because we've only just dug this out, so they haven't even started clearing it out. We've got an armor stand and we've got a weapon rack. These things here are gems that that they found while they were mining the area.
Ah, that makes a lot more sense than sea urchins.
Yeah, the white X's are archery targets that they've just built. The green X's are where I've told them to put some doors, but we haven't actually got enough doors for them to install yet. They're making those. And this is my my lever set. So each one of these levers controls a different door. So that one controls the drawbridge to the far north. This one is the near north. This one is the dual bridges in the room.
I hope they're
Far
labelled,
east.
otherwise dwarves are going to have a doozy of a time.
I've got them labelled up here.
Ah, yes.
So that I can see
now.
which one. Every time I put a drawbridge in, I test it. The only ones I couldn't test were these two, like my most important drawbridges that I hope I will never need to use. So back here, this is a room for storing ammunition, and back here is a room for storing weapons and armor. And then here, I've dug out this area. We're going to make this into a tavern, because my dwarves are going to they're going to be getting a bit antsy about the fact that they haven't got a pub. So I've dug a place out, and we're going to make that into a tavern. And these will be guest rooms, so that we've got somewhere for our guests to sleep. And I've double walled all of this, primarily so that if we wanted to dig something out, like say we wanted, what's that? Is that platinum? Oh, it's shell opal. Okay, so it's gems. If we wanted to dig out those gems, I could replace the walls without putting anything at risk. But we'll turn that into a tavern. We'll do that this stream. And yes, some dogs in here. They mainly to spot any thieves that might be coming in or out of the base, but also to distract any invaders. We get invaders coming in this far, we really need to slow them down while we just get the levers pulled.
Your guest rooms kind of remind me of how I would build solitary confinement cells in Prison Architect.
Yeah, the guests don't need much, they just need a bed.
I guess dwarfs aren't known for their hospitality.
Well, if they want to come here and stay, that's their business. They can. It's
their own fault.
They can join us as citizens. If they do that, then they get a proper bedroom. But let's go down another level.
Oh, it goes even further.
Oh yeah. So if we go, here.
Yes, hold on.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to the entire Middle European time zone.
Oh, Happy New Year, Europeans.
I still don't have Boris's excellent party whistle, so I have to imitate again. Woo!
Woo! Getting up and down, we have the staircases here in the middle, which connect up to the storeroom that I was talking about before, which is just our trading storeroom. And but if anybody wants to get in or out of the base, they've actually come through here to this staircase where they go down. I've got just a stone store pile, because there's so much stone we have to put a stockpile for it somewhere. And then down into my main workshops. So here I've got people who are crafting just blocks of stone so that we can build our roofs and ceilings, and they're making doors and tables. We've got this person is tanning leather, and that person is making leather armor, and this person's making steel armor. So everybody's busy down here. They're making extra mugs and things to sell. So this is where everybody is. The brown boxes with the crosses on them, well, that's what they are, they're boxes. This is a stockpile for cloth, and this is a stockpile for leather. And this is where we're keeping the raw gems, which the jeweler is turning into cut gems that we then sell. This is a stockpile of metal bars, and this is where I'm keeping all of the refuse that is useful, like teeth and hair and bones, because we can make things out of those. I make quite a lot of money out of selling totems, which are made out of skulls. And then going down, this is the next but last level. This is where I've got the common rooms. It's a bit plain down here at the moment.
Oh, you've got a kindergarten up there with little stools.
Oh, here.
Out of blue plastic.
This is, that's my dining room. That's my grand dining room. It's not so grand yet. It's large enough, which is a good thing. Got cats in there to keep down the vermin. We're going to move some food down here. This is a hospital. And again, you'll see here, all of the walls have got arrow slits in it.
Very comforting to have arrow slits in your hospital.
Well, again, this is a tactic that I've learned from the past experience. There's a very high likelihood that we will get attacked by a werebeast or 2 or 3 or 4. Not usually at the same time, but werebeasts are sort of medium toughness. You'll kill them. You get 4 or 5 people piling on them, we'll kill a werebeast. So like werewolves, were iguanas, were hamsters, you can be any kind of weird creature. But if they bite one of my people, there is a chance, it's not a guarantee, but it's a chance that that person will then on the next full moon turn into a weird creature themselves. So what I do is, if somebody, because it's very common to be attacked by weird beasts in this particular age, in the age of myth, it's one of the most common attacks. I'm surprised I've not had it yet. So we are absolutely ripe for a weird creature to wander onto our map. And they're hostile, they're aggressive. You don't know they're there until someone spots one, so they're usually on top of you before, which is why I've put dogs near the entrances.
Beefush says that, yeah, it's a guarantee.
Yeah, it's going to happen. And so if someone gets bitten, I have the choice. I either need to put them somewhere, wall them in and just see whether or not they die or not. Or I can just kill them on the grounds that, well, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Let's not take the risk, because if you've got a werebeast inside your fort, it can create absolute havoc. That will cause so much unhappiness amongst your dwarves, because there'll be so much death and destruction and blood and guts, and everybody gets very upset about it. And then people start going insane, and it's the base will be destroyed from the lack of morale of your dwarves and them going mad and killing each other. So I found that the easiest way to deal with it is if somebody gets injured while they're fighting a werebeast, they're going to get brought to the hospital anyway. So I've built a design of a hospital. It's just missing. I need to bring some alcohol down here. They'll be brought to the hospital to get treated. As soon as they are inside, I then wall off this door, because a werebeast can knock down doors. But I wall them in, I make sure they've got some alcohol to drink, and I just wait for a month to pass and just lock them in this room. If they turn into a weird creature, then we can shoot them from the outside.
How utilitarian. Utilitarian.
Yeah, it's and it functions well as a normal hospital. So it's so apart from the fact that there's arrow slits and it's designed for dealing with weird creatures, it functions well as a hospital. We're still building it. It's not quite there yet, but I'll put in a stockpile for alcohol, because if we do lock somebody in there and they're locked in for a month, they're going to need something to drink. if they're not too badly injured. Over here, this is a temple. There's not much in there at the moment, just a couple of chests. We'll put some statues. I've had the dwarves building statues. We'll put some statues in there to pretty it up a bit. But a temple, the main thing that they need in a temple is a dance area anyway, so they're quite... Yeah.
Dance in a temple?
They like to dance in their temples. So they've got a nice dance floor there, and it's a temple to no specific deity, so that'll deal with most of them. The main thing is I need to be able to make sure that they've all got enough time off in the day to be able to go and dance in the temple if that's what they so wish. This is my library. I've been collecting quite a collection of books, so we've got visitors coming in now. And I've also bought from the traders some parchment sheet. So I need to put some containers in here to put the writing materials. We need tables and chairs and things. This is a museum. And the fourth thing, these are artifacts, special creations that my dwarves have made when they've been possessed or taken. They've had a strange mood overcome them, and they have become singularly focused on making a legendary quality artifact, something which actually enters into the history of the world and becomes very attractive for other people to want to steal, or they'll come and attack our fort just to get our artifacts. So I found that a good way to keep them safe is to put them in a museum. So these are a bunch of pedestals, and we've got 4 artifacts so far, so they are mounted on those pedestals.
Can we see what they are?
We can. So if we have a look, in fact, the easiest way for me to do this is to just show you a list of the artifacts to start with.
Oh, I thought we could zoom in.
We can. But it's probably easier it's more interesting to read what they are. So let's see, if we have a look at that, we have Tunomikud. So it looked like a crown. But if we have a look at this, it's...
a crown may be worn as a headgear on top of a helmet, although usually just decorative. I thought that was a cool description. It's just a generic one. Oh, this is a chalk crown. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with cushion chalk cabochons.
That's a type of, like a cut of gem.
Ah, and encircled with bands of iron, this object menaces with spikes of chalk.
So that's what that one is. Here looks like a doll. Let's see what that one is. It's called Balibis.
Balibis?
And it is a small piece of art carved in the likeness of a creature. Let's see what we can see about this one.
This is a nice figurine of dwarves. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. The item is a masterfully designed image of dwarves and gneiss by Andy Lebadeskal. The dwarves are labouring. The artwork relates to the foundation of Budenked by the high mechanisms of the contingent rim in the early spring of 154.
I think that's us. I think that's our place. So I think we are the high mechanisms, and Budenked is our fort.
Ah, it is encircled with bands of round gneiss cabochons and mountain goat leather.
Should we have a quick look at the others? That looks like it's a piece of armour.
Mm-hmm. Is the other one a cat?
It looks like a hamster. Let's just have a quick look at Ashotidon. So, it's an armour stand?
Let's see. This is a green glass armour stand. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with rectangular green glass cabochons and mountain goat leather. This object is adorned with hanging rings of green glass and menaces with spikes of chalk and pigtail. On the item is an image of Rakust Actegdanian, the dwarf, and Spread Castle, the giant jaguar in chalk. Spread Castle is striking down Rakust Actegdanian. The artwork relates to the killing of the dwarf Rakust Actegdanian by the giant jaguar Spread Castle in the Pertic Swamp in 134.
So this is an example of how the world is so much bigger than our fort. We started in the year 154, so 20 years earlier. The game, when I started the world ran through this history. So this had happened, and it's in the. It takes like a few minutes for the world to simulate all of its history and for characters to go out there and kill things and battles to happen and civilizations to grow. And so this is an actual thing that happened and is in the history of the game, and he's reflecting the history.
Oh, so Rakust Acted Canyon, that's how you pronounce it, is not one of our dwarves? What a shame.
No, but he might be a relative of the dwarf that carved this. He could be a hero associated with the deity that the dwarf worships, or it could be his father or his brother. But there is a way to have a look at all of that, but we won't deal with that in this stream. It gets so you can go very, very deep into the game.
Beefush says that dwarves will generally make pictures of things they care about from their artifacts. Or they will make a picture of someone they don't like surrounded by creatures they hate or getting punched.
Yes. Yeah, that's the other things they do. Or like someone they don't like, and they'll show them being strangled to death by a giant squid or something. Seth Medor, let's have a look at this, the one that looks like a hamster. It's a splint, okay?
This is a rambutan wood splint. All craftwood chips is of the highest quality. It is decorated with feather wood and encircled with bands of rambutan wood and donkey leather. This object menaces with spikes of pigtail and indigo tourmaline. I don't see a splint looking good with spikes. This is cumbersome.
Pigtail is cloth.
Oh,
so it's got cloth spikes.
Cloth spikes.
Again, I've got some dogs outside in here just to keep an eye out for thieves because, it's a bit of an attractive area. And we'll go down to the last floor. Oh, yeah, actually, I'll just point out this last thing here. We have a well. So one thing that the dwarves have done is to dig a channel. That's another drawbridge, but the drawbridge is closed. This channel, if I now go up in the world, leads up to the river. And we channeled down from the river. So you can see I built a staircase next to it and then dug a little channel between the river and the staircase because they were able to do that while they stood to the side of it. And the water flowed down the channel, down the staircase and into this channel here, and then flooded into the well. And they actually managed. Usually, what happens is they overfill it. They take far too long about closing the drawbridge, and I end up with a flood everywhere. But it's always manageable, and because it's done through a drawbridge, it means I can always refill the well later if it starts running a bit dry. We just let down the drawbridge. It floods the place again. We close it up. The water dries down. And the place is usable. So that's one of the reasons why I build it all so modular with doors and corridors everywhere, so we can lock things off and close them up while we do stuff like flood bits of the base. This is a room for my bookkeeper. I don't think I've assigned a bookkeeper yet. Oh yes, I have.
Good.
Yes. Now, but what I haven't done, we have a mayor. And we have a captain of the guard. I didn't tell anyone to be a captain of the guard. Somebody's appointed themselves. Chief medical dwarf, broker. Yes, the bookkeeper. What I want to do with the bookkeeper is say, I want you to spend the majority of your time doing bookkeeping, because at the moment we've only got an estimate of how much stuff we've got in the fort. So,
I like that. That's so in depth.
Yeah. So if we've only got a handful of things, like we know how many chairs we've got in stock because it's probably 5. But we don't know how many barrels of beer we've got in stock. It's like maybe 80 something. So they'll have an estimate of how much stuff when it comes to the bigger numbers. But you need a bookkeeper who spends a lot of time just going around and counting stuff. So that they know. This is my mayor's bedroom and my mayor's office. It's not particularly fit for purpose yet, but it's functional. It keeps them from getting too unhappy. And now we've got a captain of the guard, I really need to get about building a jail so that if somebody breaks the law, I've got somewhere for the captain of the guard to lock them up, because they get really upset if they haven't got somewhere to lock people up. And so that's the main base. Now, something else about Dwarf Fortress. It's the base game itself is in ASCII. I am using a tile set just to make it a little more visual for stream. And I use another, there's a packaged mod pack called the Lazy Noob Pack, which the vast majority of people use. It makes up for the fact that Dwarf Fortress doesn't have an interface, because that's not what the game designers are all about. They're about the world simulation and creating an amazing game, but things like user interfaces and graphics is not their cup of tea. So the community have helped with that. And one of the tools that they have is things called this thing. It's called Dwarf Therapist. And this allows us to see all of our dwarves and prioritize their tasks. Think RimWorld. In RimWorld, where you can tell people what jobs they've got to do, who's doing what jobs, and I have a particular tactic I use, and it's all based around the outdoors and the fact that people don't like the outdoors. So as I keep them grouped by migrant wave, because that means that the people at the bottom have not been here so long, so they haven't had as much time to get unhappy. So the people at the top have been here the longest, and as you can see, I also give people names in alphabetical order. So every migrant wave has... Oh, hang on, I've got 2 E's. Oh, summer and autumn. Ah. Yeah, and then my latest migrant wave, who arrived only within the last month, I think. They were literally walking in as I closed the stream. So what I have is the most recent arrivals are the people doing the outdoors work, because they haven't had time to be rained on too much. So them and the people before them are doing things like construction, because a lot of that's outdoors. And then all of the people who've been here longer than that, they're not doing any construction now, because that's mainly building the roof. And yeah, they start getting really unhappy if they've been out in the sun too long and they've been rained on and stuff. Now, if anybody wants a dwarf named after them, as long as you have a name that begins, let's see, A, B, C, D, E. I suppose I should change these to Fs. I'll change those to Fs eventually, or G. Then feel free to recommend any names for as long as they begin A to G.
In the meantime, J3B is back, says hello.
Hello.
Or maybe that's Jeb. Maybe it's Jeb. I'm not sure. Probably it's Jeb. Also, Bifash would like you to show us the vanilla way of managing labourers.
Oh boy. Okay. Right. There's oh gosh, now I've got to actually remember how to do this. I haven't got a manager set up, which makes things a lot harder. But that's my job list.
I'm glad that some of them are assigned sleeping duty.
Oh no, that's just what they are doing. That's the job they've assigned themselves. It's not the unit list. It's been a long time since I've had to look here. Here's all of my people. We've got 101 citizens, 118 pets and livestock. There's 43 other people. Most of them are merchants. We've got a few wild animals on the map. Capybaras, who are actually quite troublesome. But they're not causing us any problems at the moment. And some visitors who are down in my library. And we have no dead or missing people. No one's died yet. Like I say, we are absolutely primed for attack any moment. Where we are on the world, this particular map tile itself is a friendly map tile. There's it's not a place where we would expect like rains of frogs or dead cats or eyeballs to sprout out of the ground, or
do dead cats just appear, or are they all raining?
They can. Well, creatures don't just spawn in this game. They need to breed somewhere. They'll breed off the map and wander in. But in certain biomes, yes, you can get rain. Or you can get rain of blood, and all kinds of nasty things. But basically, that's next door to us.
Ah, that's good. That's the neighbour's
So
problem.
it's not here, but things can wander on from next door if we do have dwarven settlements nearby.
Hold on.
So there's as much risk of them being attacked as us.
You said that the world is very intrinsically generated and everything. So there is a generated explanation for why it is raining cats? Is there a mad sorcerer?
Yes, if you go back into the very early years of the world generation, it will tell you what the gods were doing.
It's the gods' fault.
And they can create evil creatures who will then have an effect on things. But those very, very early days, prior to the game being playable, well, that was still being generated. Before civilization began, that tends to cause the evil in certain parts of the world. So we are on the edge of I think it was a swamp that's an evil biome. We've got some stuff kind of just round the corner from us that's a bit worrisome. I haven't spotted any necromancers in the area, but that doesn't mean that someone won't learn necromancy. We could learn necromancy if we were lucky enough. All it takes to learn necromancy is to get your hands on the right book.
Oh yeah, speaking about necromancy, I wanted to address the dead pit you were building. Does that all just turn into dead soup?
Yeah,
where it just decomposes
if we were to get a necromancer. So what happens here is we've got a pile of remains there. You can see, do you see the yellow text down in the right bottom corner? We've thrown a lot more than that down there, but it slowly decomposes over time and disappears. But if a
so it doesn't mix with rainwater and just create some dead soup?
No, it just decomposes over time.
I imagined it. Oh, that's horrifying.
But if a necromancer came, so there we have a capybara right front paw. He could bring that right front paw back to life. I have a drawbridge here. I didn't wall it in. That is another drawbridge linked to that lever. Just so that if a dwarf happens to fall down there, we can get them out. Because, the accidents happen. The dwarves can be a bit clumsy at times. So there is a way in and out of the pit. But it's a building that can't be broken out of by anything. So if a necromancer comes and turns my refuse into living horrors to attack us, my dwarves won't know. Anything that can climb up the walls, like maybe that front paw tries to climb, or the partial skeleton tries to climb out.
Oh no, there's a hamster in there.
Yeah, oh no, it's a dead hamster. But they can come back to life and attack you. But which is why I have a 3x3 pit, but a 1x1 hole right dead in the centre, because they can climb the walls, but they can't climb the ceilings. So so they can go in there, and we can just leave them in there. If we need to do something about it, we'll do something about it. But it's an unlikely problem to have to deal with. But it's something that, if you do need to deal with it, you'll be glad you started with a pit, rather than having a pile of refuse somewhere up top and 100 creatures all and bits of like llama wool trying to strangle you. I mean, I do have that risk with down here where I have all of my valuable refuse. There's teeth and hair and skulls there. If a necromancer was to pop by, there is a risk that some of this could be reanimated and could attack my dwarves that are down
just
here. But
individual teeth.
There is a limit. Not everything can be brought back to life, but some stuff could.
Ugh. Beefish points out that necromancers bring skin back to life.
Yeah.
Does he target this, or is this just an inadvertent effect if he passes by and accidentally reanimates stuff?
It's if the necromancer is hostile, then he will create hostile creatures out of all of the remains that are in your base.
Oh God!
And because we are butchering things all the time, so and especially once we start getting attacked by goblins, we'll have a lot of dead goblins and the creatures they bring with them.
On the note of necromancy, Jep points out that warhammers are best against the undead because if you use something like axes, then you suddenly have 4 zombie arms and legs coming at you instead.
Absolutely. And I did have... Yes, I've got a place set up making steel, including... silver warhammers. I've been buying silver bars when I can get them because silver is really good for hammers because it's heavy. But I don't have much access to silver, but I've got lots of access to steel. So that is fantastic. It was a very lucky start. I've got shallow, very, very shallow iron. So I'm able to start making steel armor and stuff. Anyway, so I did see the suggestion that I go to Legends to look into it, but I think we'll pass on that for the moment. I was thinking about doing a Dwarf Fortress series where we look in depth at the game. And most people here are not intensely fascinated with Dwarf Fortress. So I think
I have to admit though, I like how evocative the world is designed. Like, I can really imagine this Dwarf Fortress, and I'm almost inclined to rebuild it in Minecraft. It looks so fascinating in my head.
Yeah. Well, Minecraft is... Dwarf Fortress was the inspiration behind Minecraft.
Oh!
It was also the inspiration behind RimWorld. It's the game that launched 1,000 games.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. And Dwarf Fortress is coming to Steam. I am so excited. And on the Steam page for it, they've got a splash banner that says "Now with graphics." I think that's the two things that they're getting ready for. They've brought in external developers to help them sort out some graphics. It's a sort of 3D look about the graphics as well.
Oh, wow! I thought they'd just slap some texture
Tiles
pack on here,
like what I've done. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, slightly 3D graphics and
isometric.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that.
And hopefully a user interface as well. The user interface is okay, like once you get used to it, but because it's a very complicated. It's just very in depth. So there's lots of things you can do. So there's lots and lots and lots of menus within menus within menus.
Does the game have a tutorial?
No, but it's got an incredibly detailed wiki, which I use an awful lot. But it's the sort of thing that because you do a lot of things over and over again, so it's quite easy to pick up and learn. It's just if something's not working right, if, for example, you've told them to chop down trees and nobody will chop down those trees, and it's just so frustrating, you can lose time and then you get attacked and your defenses aren't ready or your armor isn't ready because nobody would chop down that damn tree. And it's not intuitive, but then you find out the reason why, or what the main reason why it happens to me is because I've put the people who have the task of chopping down trees are people who are in the military. And if you're in the military, then you're probably running around with a sword in your hand, so you can't pick up an axe to chop down a tree. So you can't have people who need to carry weapons. If someone's in the military, then they can't chop trees.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So even on their downtime, they can't chop trees. It's one of the common causes of frustration. Right. So let's get. So I've set up a military and I've told them to start training. Let's have a look at our military. I've got a bunch of archers and a bunch of melee people. I picked the people who had some sort of experience, like Bernie is a competent hammer dwarf. Clara's is a competent swords dwarf. So I picked the people who had some skills to start with and then just started banging a load of other people in there. Same with the archers. Some people came with some skills because they were hunters, and then I just filled up the In fact, I think everybody there's got some skills in archery. So they will start training. I have them on a schedule so that if you see here, it says train for minimum. That means that these are the names of the month. Every month, see how this one here is highlighted blue at the moment. As I move down, every time we get a new month on the calendar, 4 people will go and start training, and there's 10 in a squad. So that means 6 people will be off duty, and 4 people will go train. We are currently in the month of Malachite.
On a side note, I'm not sure where to insert this comfortably because you got going there. Babom arrived and says hello.
Babom.
And also, on the note of bringing back skin, Cassandra would like to know your location. I imagine this is a reference to Divinity Original Sin? No? Maybe? Let me know. On a side note, Bfush points out that experienced players just know to work around the bugs, but for a new player, troubleshooting can be extremely hard.
Yeah, it's when something goes wrong, it's difficult to work out quite why.
And Jeb points out that playing this game entails looking stuff up on the Dwarf Fort wiki a bunch. You keep discovering new stuff, even after years of playing.
Yeah. And there's a new update coming out in January, which I'm quite excited about as well.
Also, say hello to Spider-Man.
Hi, Spidey.
Who says, German village fortress, 10 out of 10.
Right, I am setting up a workflow to make some chairs out of firelight. I want quite a few of them because we're going to want chairs and tables in the pub.
Also, Spidey, sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Spidey was asking if there's still that bug that lets you lock a bunch of combat dwarves in a room with non-lethal traps until they get good at dodging.
Yes. It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Jeb says no, it's not anymore.
Oh. I thought it still works on their armor skill though, doesn't it?
Jeb is saying danger rooms are lethal in the latest version. But you can train up legendary military in about 2 years. Oh, of course. Babom says that Cassandra was a Doctor Who reference to the last living human who's basically a sentient trampoline made of skin. Yeah, that makes more sense. I shouldn't have been thinking of the necromancer Cassandra in Divinity Original Sin.
Right, let's let the dwarves get about their business, start tidying this place up. I say, I have just dug this out, so yes, very messy.
Bear Grylls says, danger rooms can randomly cripple a neck and make you suffocate.
Yes, I knew that the danger rooms can have real risks, but I did think that they still trained your armor skill.
Bfush points out that there's still the dodging bug that drives sparring dwarves to jump through thin walls and down cliffs. And Sal says, death by mintage.
Right, we are going to designate this area as it's going to be a meeting room, and it is going to be our new pub. So we're going to add a location, and it is going to be an in-stroke tavern. It is called the Sensual Baker.
The what now? The Sensual
Baker. Okay, right. We need to put some things down here. It's a pub. We need some chairs and tables. So let's put some tables. I'll put planning mode on. Let's have tables and chairs against the wall. That seems to be a good idea. So we'll just put a bunch of tables and chairs along here. Yeah, like that. Now some of these, they're going to use my nice blue microcline chairs and tables for. Hang-on, chair, put that into planning mode. Okay, so there we've got some chairs and tables. Now we're going to need some drinks down here as well. So let's make a stockpile. So it's P for stockpile and then F for food.
People are really relating to the Sensual Baker pub. Jeff pointing out it's hot in there. Sel saying it's that kind of baker. And Babom getting lusty Argonian maid vibes.
Right, I just want to tweak the settings on this food stockpile because there's various types of things you can put in food stockpile. And all we want down in our pub is drink. So I'm going to say block everything.
What do you mean, just drink?
It's a pub.
It's a bakery.
We don't want to keep bone meal down there. And remind me about rendering fat in a minute.
Rendering fat.
Yeah, but we
Chat,
do want...
remind me about reminding Sal about rendering fat.
We want to store drinks down there. Now, the other thing that we want to put down in the pub is... Oops. We want to build some containers. That splurging noise was the sound of a turkey being butchered. We want to put some containers down here, and that will be for... let's put planning mode on again. That'll be for holding mugs.
Sal Assassin would like to know if the fort has been invaded yet.
No, it should be any minute now. I'm expecting an invasion.
Are we ready for this?
Yeah. We can basically close ourselves off and wait until the dwarves are trained up enough. But they'll have good armour soon, and they'll be trained up enough. And there's the merchant squads tend to be quite well armoured as well. So if someone was to attack us right now, they'd be facing those merchants. But otherwise, we can close our doors. But I've built it. The reason why I've got drawbridges at the start and end of each of the tunnels is that I can tempt the attackers into the tunnel and then close the doors on them and trap them there. And then wait until some other horrific creature wanders on the map, and then I can let them out to go and attack it. And that's a reasonable strategy. It does mean that you are under siege for longer than necessary. And what I will do over time is make the tunnels more intricate so that I can trap the invaders into cells, so that I can release the invaders into the hands of my waiting army in small batches, so that my army don't get overwhelmed, and we can just take on a handful of invaders, deal with them, then we can clean out the bodies, and then we can take on another batch. So it controls the invaders. Now, the way the population cap is set, I have a population cap of 100, but I have an invader cap of 150. So there is always the chance that we will get invaded by more people attacking us than actually live here.
On the note of letting invaders go into certain cells, Cell Technology says that please don't invade him. Also, going back to the pub, which is still really jibing with people, Spidey says, come for the beer, stay for the buns. And Cell Technology points out that roast beer is a common food in Dwarf Fortress. Also, Jeb likes your fort design.
Oh, thank you.
And Cell would like to know, are the goblins at war with you, with each other? The world?
Well, an individual goblin can be quite friendly. The goblins as a civilization tend to pick fights with people. People tend to pick fights with goblins as well, for that matter.
So they're the Scottish of the world.
Sure.
Was this offensive?
Probably.
I'm sorry, Scotland. But please note that I'm saying this out of admiration.
Right, now you see what I did there is I've put down chests to keep the goblets in, to keep mugs in. But I've also put a stockpile to put mugs in because as we get a lot of visitors and a lot of dwarves all wanting to drink from the beer that we're storing down there, because the dwarves will favour the inn over their own dining room. And what I want to make sure is that we might have 100 mugs in this room, but if they're stored in 4 chests, then only 4 dwarves or visitors can access a mug at once. So by having a stockpile with a bunch of mugs in it, it just means that we've got it means that we shouldn't have dwarves that can't drink without a mug. So I've got a stock of, I don't know, about 200 mugs. I've just sold a load, so there's probably not that many at the moment. Alright, the other thing that we want to do is to build some beds. We're going to put the beds in here. Let's get planning mode on again. And we'll just drop some beds in there for visitors to stay in, and then that way they'll leave our dormitory alone, which is aimed at dwarves with nowhere to stay.
Is mouse support part of the new pack launcher you're using, or was this actually is this actually in the game?
Do you know? I'm not sure. No, I think this is part of the lazy new pack.
Spotted Cow reminds me to remind you about the fat.
Oh, the fat. Yes. Right.
Thanks, chat.
I want to start making soap soon. So something that we need to do is to tell them when they're cooking meals, don't cook up the fat, because we'll turn the fat into tallow, and I don't want them putting. No one likes eating tallow. Tallow is used in soap, but they will cook them into a meal. So I'm going to switch off anything that's got tallow in it. So let's do a search, actually. Search on tallow. Yeah. Anything with tallow in it. Yeah, just don't. Okay. Oh, look at that. We're starting to get some accurate numbers now. Because my bookkeeper, before it would say we've got 300 odd seeds, 300 and something, or 100 and... It might say we've got 100 plus drinks, but wouldn't know exactly how many. But yeah, our bookkeeper's doing his job. Nice. But yes, our fort is quite wealthy. We've done a lot of trading. We've got a lot of shiny silver armour. It's quite a large fort. There's over 100 people in it. It hasn't been attacked by anybody. Any day now. I'm pretty sure that during this stream we are going to get sieged by goblins. I think that's a fairly safe bet. The goblins are only 2 days travel away.
What was that?
I think he said you can't do it, can't reach something, can't reach sight.
Huh.
What are you trying to
Bear Grylls
reach?
loves a nice soapy bath. I'm not sure about the soap. It sounds like you're making it out of grease.
Well, soap is made out of fat.
I know.
It's either... Oh yeah, my...
I haven't seen this level, I think.
Oh, new baby born. Okay. Oh, have I not shown you the bedrooms? Yeah, this is the ground level. This is the bottom level.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
Ah, I mustn't have taken you down here yet. So yes, bedrooms. And I've started... this is my dormitory where any dwarf who doesn't have a bedroom can go sleep. But everybody else has got a bedroom of their own, except I haven't quite got enough bedrooms because we've got 100 people. Now, some people will be sharing bedrooms, husbands and wives or partners, because it is not a strictly heterosexual game. And so partners will share a bedroom. And if they're a baby, I think the baby also shares the bedroom with their parents. And so we shouldn't need the full quota of beds, but I have 80 in this area. Over here, that should take us to 90, and I have made those into bedrooms, good. But I'm getting ready and building the next batch of bedrooms just to make sure. So let's get some beds placed down there.
It still reminds me of cell design in Prison Architect.
You see the fancy pattern?
Oh yeah, I do. I want to point out this looks like the nicest level so far.
Yeah.
And that's neat because dwarves are sleeping there.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time down here. And I will slowly spread the niceness around the base.
There are probably 5% of gay dwarfs.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. We have gay and we also have transsexual dwarfs.
It's tracking that?
Yeah. So we can see here both the gender and the sexuality.
Oh.
So there we have a female bisexual dwarf.
Oh, that is very invasive in terms of privacy.
Yeah. It helps us to know whether like how many babies we're likely to get. And such like.
I still feel weird mentioning that in the census.
Oops. Right, do you see here this list of zeros?
Mm-hmm.
That we're actually looking at the top of coffins.
Oh.
So dwarves get really unhappy if somebody dies. Now that can include a visitor. If a visitor to our base, and the visitors are the people who I would expect to die the most. Because I keep my dwarves safe, but I sacrifice the visitors to the invaders and nasty creatures. They get very upset if somebody dies and doesn't get a proper burial. So what I do is build and they like to mourn the dead as well. So rather than have separate burial chambers, I put little insects in my corridors because, it looks quite pretty. And that way we're not spending a lot of time and effort decorating a place where nobody goes. Or doesn't go very often. So here is where I bury my dead. But we haven't got any dead people yet. Do you see how this is like a plain grey?
Mm-hmm.
That's because it's just a rough cavern floor. This darker grey here, they've smoothed it. And then this lighter grey, they've engraved it. So we can actually look at, say, a piece of engraved wall. Let's pick a piece of engraved floor. And let's see if I pick on it again, we can have a look at that.
Engraved is a Anne Gemmitzsteller rendition of the tall stockade, a finely designed image of a tunnel tube. The image is the symbol of the contingent rim, a dwarven civilization.
So she's...
So every single one of those tiles has history?
Yeah. So every single one of those tiles. And not only that, but it has a different quality as well. So do you see how up here, this has got a little star in front of it?
Mm-hmm.
That means it's quite a nice engraving.
Ooh,
And
wow.
that's so one of the other dwarves has engraved that. It was engraved by Bruno, and it's a finely designed image of a cut gem.
A tapered baguette cut.
Yeah. The walls have been engraved too. So this one's not a very good quality, but that's because I let anybody engrave, because unless you can get bad engravings, but largely the engravings are a positive. They don't distract. They generally add to the environment. So I get all the dwarves engraving, and a lot of them dream about making a masterpiece, of doing an artistry masterpiece. I can't remember exactly what it's called now, but basically they want to engrave something, do a masterpiece of engraving. So getting everybody involved in the engraving means that they all get a bit of a chance to express their artistic side, because they can get upset if they don't get that opportunity. And they also, every so now and then, one of them will produce a masterpiece and they'll be really happy about it. Like I say, the majority of the time that forts, when not if your fort will fail. The majority of the time the fort will fail because the dwarves have driven themselves mad over something or other. It can just be that they've been exposed to too much rain and they've got too depressed, and you end up in a depression spiral. They start killing each other. Someone goes berserk, someone else kills them, the brother of someone, you end up with a blood feud, and then the military get involved, and then someone decides, and then you can get into a full-on civil war. It's actually, you can get into a very complicated situations with the loyalties of your dwarves, your civilization, and the government of your fortress.
Flash points out that there's also the FPS death ending.
Yes, yeah.
Which is the bad one.
Which is the last one I suffered from, actually. When the world went, I had a dragon first, then I had a titan that spat fire. That's the ding is the merchants leaving, but it's fine. We've got all of our trading done. I did that before we started. And between them, they set the world on fire. And the fire raged for 3 years. By the time that it got to the last one, the FPS was really bad.
Oh, yeah.
So at that point, it was like, an FPS death.
Earlier on, somebody was asking, how long does a year take? It depends on the frame rate. According to Jeb, it takes about 15 to 30 minutes a year on an average computer.
Yeah. And it depends on how much you do. So every time I go into a menu, the game's paused. So if you just leave it running like this, the problem with just leaving it running like this is that you're not doing important stuff. Oh yeah, like, for example, I need to do a stockpile. Well, the game's paused now while I'm doing the stockpile. And really, we need to be doing lots of things, because if I'm just letting it run, then the world is moving on while my dwarves are not. What I want to do is put in a food stockpile. Not much, just needs to be a couple of barrels of beer.
Jeb called your bedroom sector gentrified.
Yeah, it's a lot of people don't make the bedrooms quite so big. But I found that it helps with the morale of my dwarfs. Let's see, we just want drinks of any kinds.
Also, Jeb would like to know, do you have gentrification on the other side of the pond?
Yes, we have gentrification here.
Or is gentrification again?
It's where you take a rundown area and you make it into a middle class area.
Ah, thank you.
I just can't.
Beefash points out, if a gigantic battle takes place somewhere in your world, your FPS will actually go down.
Yeah, because it's calculating what's going on that's not even on your screen.
Which means that each individual fight is processed.
Yeah. The whole... The world simulation is absolutely astonishingly amazing. Oh look, there's the bookkeeper doing his work. We need to pretty these rooms up. And I need to get more tables and chairs in. And
Dwarf says he has an amazing idea, but it'll probably be useless.
Thanks for your opinion on the matter. Right, that's this guy. I think we should follow him. So he has the aspect of one who is fey. He's gone into a fey mood. He's going to make an artifact. If he fails to make the artifact, bad things happen. It can be, the way things can spiral out of control means that one person going into a fey mood and not having their needs met.
This workshop in the name of invention.
He's very excited. You can end up going into a very nasty spiral just through one dwarf dying. Let's follow you again. Let's see what you're doing. Where are you? There you are. So he's going up the stairs. He's going and getting... Oh, it's a lump of iron. I do like it when they make stuff out of good quality materials. Down the stairs back to the workshop. So the workshop he's using is a craft workshop, which means it's probably not going to be something practical. He's probably going to make a bracelet or a figurine or a crown, or so he's got a piece of leather.
Too Big points out that people can also be gentrified.
Hang on a second. Do you see how he's not moving? He's staying there. That means he wants something that we haven't got. Let's see if we can find out what it is. Tanned hides. He's got his leather. He must have logs. We've got logs. Must have bones. Must have metal bars. We've got metal bars. Must have rock. We've got rock. Must have rock blocks. We've got those too. I think we're short on bones. We've probably turned all of the bones into things. So let's make sure that we've got some bones for him. We'll go slaughter an animal. I'm presuming that's what it is. Sometimes they're not happy with small things, like small bones from something like a turkey.
God! Drunk Spidey points out that a fey mood is not a good thing. He had Dwarf make a door out of another dwarf because he was in a fey mood.
Yeah, they
do that.
No, not exactly, but that's kind of the end result. They can go berserk.
But it was at least a really nice door.
All right, what shall we slaughter? Let's see what we've got in way of male animals.
Bear Grylls points out that this is not a fey mood, that's a foul mood when dwarfs go killing other dwarfs for parts.
I've only got one yak bull. What about rams? I've got 2 rams. Yeah, right, we'll butcher that first one. Okay, so that I'm hoping will give him what he needs. So we'll just wait for that splurge noise.
Jeb says, nice dwarf door, decorated with menacing spikes of dwarf. Doesn't that start to smell?
I'm hoping that what we will see shortly is... No, he's not moving.
Could it be that you're out of silk cloth?
What else did he need? Logs?
Mm-hmm.
Bones?
Mm-hmm.
Metal bars? Rock? Rock blocks? Tanned hides? Oh, silk cloth! Sorry, yes, I missed silk cloth. I only had 3 pieces of silk cloth. I actually made sure I had 3 pieces of silk cloth in stock. The merchants have left, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh. I hope we haven't made silk cloth into socks or something. Let me just have a look at the stocks and see.
Can you undo silk cloth socks
No.
to make...
There is a way to get silk, but we're not there yet. I thought we would have been, but we're not. Stocks.
Oh boy.
Well, we can do a
ammo slabs.
search.
I don't see silk.
Actually, we can't do a search.
Tab to
Tab
enable
to enable
search.
search. Search on silk. They must have turned this. I had 3 pieces of silk.
Beefush points out that you can get silk from giant spider webs in the caves, although you should gentrify the spiders first.
We haven't actually found the caves yet, which I'm surprised about because we're down about 11 levels. Ooh, this is going to be... I don't know if we'll get there in time. But I think
is there a timer how long he will...
Yeah, he won't wait too long at all. I don't really want to head into the caverns from my bedroom layer. Let's go down from here. Okay. So usually I'm actually quite cautious about opening up the caverns when I don't have a well-developed military. Let's go from here. Let's take it out a little ways, then I can do things like drawbridges and stuff afterwards.
On a side note, just 1 minute before the new year.
Oh. Okay, right, we'll just dig a downstair there. In fact, let's not dig all around it, because I might expand that and make it a much wider staircase. We'll just dig that for the moment. And then we're just going to have to dig down and hope we come across the caverns and hope that there's some spider webs in the caverns that we can collect very quickly and get made into silk. Okay, so there we've got a staircase down, so now we can build.
Our people are premature with their fireworks. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
To everybody in GMT.
Yes. Also sad car party kazoo imitation.
Can you hear the fireworks outside?
I'm not sure if they can hear them. Hold on, let me check. They cannot.
Oh, never mind. That's probably no bad thing.
I could open the window and let the fireworks in. Bomb says, Happy New Decade. Sand Assassin chimes in, Happy New Year. Jeb also wishes a Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Right, dwarves, get digging, and here's hoping that you find a cavern pretty quickly. Oh, what's that? That looks shiny.
They dug down.
Silver! Oh, fantastic. We found silver.
They dug down really quickly.
Yeah, dwarves are quick at digging.
Shouldn't they really be digging straight down, though?
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's not like Minecraft. They won't fall through a hole.
Well, fine.
I'm going to get them just digging a little bit out on each level, because it could just be that we are digging through... We're just missing. The caverns shouldn't be that deep. So if we just dig a bit, they're bound to be around here somewhere. I'm actually going up in the world here as I'm moving.
Mm-hmm. As bizarre as it sounds, I could actually tell.
Oh, could you?
I have no idea how I managed it, though.
Then
Jeb is wishing us cheers and does a dance. I noticed that those me commands on Twitch get not relayed via restream. So I missed, for instance, earlier on when Alfie was, I think, wanting me to do something horrifying. Hold on, let me look back.
I didn't mean to put that there.
Alfie. Alfie thinks that me should get a kazoo. I do have a train whistle, although Sal told me that I'm no longer allowed to use it.
I didn't outright ban you. That's...
Well, yes. Deadlock wishes us a happy new year. And Jeb wishes everybody high elbows. We seem to be really unlucky with the caves.
There's got to be a cave around here somewhere. I mean, if we just dig out a little bit along each of these, we're bound to find it. Because it won't be much deeper than this. We're not that high in the world. There are 3 cavern layers, and they get progressively more dangerous as we go. So finding the first cavern layer is of reasonable importance to us.
Jeb says, onward and upwards.
I am shocked that we're not finding the caverns. It can't be.
I didn't
that
expect the soundtrack to be so rocky. Which I didn't intend as a pun.
See if we... Ah, we found it. Right, okay, we found the caverns.
I have no idea what's going on now. Where was the original point?
Pause this. At this moment in time, I don't know. But we're about to find out.
Ah, lovely.
One of the dwarves that's digging somewhere has just opened up. Something that he's been digging has opened up into the caverns. So if we go back upwards, we should get an idea of where this has happened.
Ooh, that's fairly far down.
It really is. I'm wondering whether he's actually hit the second layer of caverns rather than the first. I mean, I expect when I was digging out my bedrooms, because I'm already 11 layers down and I'm in a low bit of the world, I was expecting to hit the caverns here. I wasn't sure if I'd fit all of my bedrooms in, so the caverns really should be around here. Which is why I'm a little worried that we might be down into the second layer of caverns. Right, what I'm going to do now is cancel all of the digging. Because, especially if this is second layer of caverns, we want to control this. Okay, so what has he... It's actually the stairwell. I would have preferred it if it was one of the side paths that open up. So basically we have just cut straight through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm gonna
Oh wow,
do...
those go deep.
This is where I was digging. That yellow X.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is to tell it to cancel. So designate, remove any designations. I'm going to say from there, where I was, and then just upwards.
Oh, I had no idea it could do that. That's handy.
Right. Just so that if they were digging any more stairs, they wouldn't then go dig straight down, because I want to have a bit more control over exactly where we go into these caverns. Right, first thing is let's have a look at what's down here. Have we got anything else on the map? Pond grabbers. Well, pond grabbers are usually first cavern layers. First cavern creatures. There's nothing too awful down there.
So how would we find spider webs here?
We would hope that there are spiders.
Oh, that's a terrible thing to hope.
I don't see any spider webs.
Oh, your cave spells out sploo.
Sorry?
Your cave spells out sploo.
What? Where?
Sploo.
Oh, S-P-L-O-O.
Sploo.
Sploo. Indeed. Yeah,
The
unfortunately.
cave spiders will now spawn. Oh, I hate spiders. How detailed is the spider picture here?
Oh no, they're just like the other creatures. They're very plain.
Also, according to Beefush,
Yep.
smaller spiders like creepy crawlers also create webs. Sometimes in year 4 even. Still terrifying.
So I think what I'm going to do is just shunt the staircase across and bring the staircase down through this solid pillar here. And that way we can at least put a door on it, just to give us a little bit of security to start with. So we would want it... Go back down to that again. Okay, that's the ground layer.
Hate spiders. A few months ago, he found 7 in his bedroom in one day. Where did Babom live again? Was this Australian spiders?
No, Babom's on the south coast of the UK.
Oh god, that's even more terrifying. The spiders are here.
Okay, so this is where we're building a new staircase. And we're just going to dig across to it from the staircase that we've already built. Because we haven't got much time to waste. We need to be getting down there collecting webs. Okay, ground floor is there. We'll dig that out as well. And we can look at making this all just a bit more secure in the future, but for now we just need to get down here.
Babom wants to know, do you not get spiders up north? I don't know. Presumably yes. Although in this neatly kept household, I have not encountered any spiders.
We're not too bad for spiders in apartment buildings.
Ah, that's reassuring. Are you trying to tell me that the underground is filled with spiders?
If you lived on the ground floor, you probably get more spiders than we do here.
Oh god.
Yeah, they tend not to
I can't go
being
out on
too
the
high.
road anymore now that I have to imagine that the sewer lines are just filled with spiders.
Right, my weaver is...
I have
Is
been
it
comfortably
you collect
living
webs?
in the blissful ignorance of spiders, so I try to not be aware of them. The only problem appears to be, for some bizarre
do now.
reason, I have agreed to partake in an Australian holiday as part of the Nidaway, which I am told has spiders a lot more and a lot bigger. So there's more spiders in all possible dimensions. Also spiders for longer, which isn't really helping. Say hello to Tammy.
Hello, Tammy.
I was wondering, do you need us to give you a can of Raid? Raid Shadow Legends?
Right,
No?
cancel everything. Go collect webs. I have a horrible feeling that there's no webs. We have a dwarf in a fey mood and we can't satisfy his mood. That can be... It can be a bad thing.
Ah, raid bug killer. No, I'm fine for the moment, like I said. There's hardly spiders here. However, I'm told that all of Australia has spiders. Like everywhere.
Tell you what, let's move our military down and do a bit of exploring. So we can say squads A, squad A, move here. Squad, B, move here.
Was I'm not sure if any bug killers would be effective against Australian spiders. Also, despite my aversions to spiders, I try not to be harmful to them. They can't help that I am terribly afraid of them, but that shouldn't usually stop me from just politely evicting them from the premises. Oh yeah. Jet points out that after the fires in Australia, the country will get flooded with the locusts. The bomb says he currently only has 3 spiders in his bedroom right now. Yeah, but is it those weird daddy long legs? Acceptable spiders?
We actually have very little flat surface down in the caves for spiders to be spinning webs on.
It's also very wet down here, it seems.
It is very watery.
Jeb points out that the troubles usually come in 3s, they say. Like 3 spiders or 3 in Jeb. And Beefush usually politely gives the spiders in his house the broom. I mean, yes, fair approach, although I try not to be too rough with them because one day the spiders will be large enough to hold the broom themselves. And then I just want to die of fear. Quickly. Which the broom would actually be a nice thing to have then. Because, you know, if the spider quickly kills me with the broom, I wouldn't have to suffer as it politely evicts me from the premises. Oh god, I'd have to look at it. I'd like to imagine that spiders are just as afraid of me as I am of them.
You're giving yourself nightmares, aren't you?
I am already, haha!
Alright, so what I'm doing here, I can see that there's another little bit of flat ground here. So I'm going to dig through and see if we can open up a path over here, and maybe we can find webs over here.
The bomb is offering me pictures of his spiders. No thank you, I don't need your daddy long leg pictures. Also, Charlie wishes us a froes neues Meer. And Beefush believes that they won't grow big if he brooms them first. That's what they want you to believe. They will adapt to changing circumstances, and if they have to adapt to brooms, then they will eventually learn to wield the brooms themselves. Evolution works that way. Instead, I'm trying to teach them how to politely evict people. Tammy wants to know if I'm sure if I don't want the can of Raid. Yeah, sure. Again, just because I'm terribly afraid of heights doesn't mean I forcefully mine down every mountain in the vicinity and tear down buildings, because that's usually considered as quite rude. And I pride myself in my commitment to not being all too rude.
Oh. We've discovered a downward passage.
Is that a bad thing?
I can't say I have ever discovered a downward passage before.
Well, at least it's not a downward spiral.
Where is that downward passage? And is there any spider webs? I still can't see spider webs.
Jeb says it's a passage to fun.
Oh, does it go down to the... It doesn't go right down, does it?
Can creatures crawl up the stairs?
Oh, if anything, if you can get down somewhere, they can get up.
Ah, that's
I was just
reassuring.
wondering if...
Can you make it so that it's too small for anything about dwarves?
I'm just zooming out. I can't see anything that goes down. I'm just one layer below the cavern.
Oh.
I can't actually see anything.
Beefush says it usually leads to a different layer, a cavern layer.
Yeah, but I think we're on the second cavern layer.
Oh, yeah.
So that would take us down to the third cavern layer. Only because we are so deep in the earth to find the first cavern layer. It just seems unlikely. I think we've dug past the first cavern layer. Although this seems very
still
calm.
in time for the masterpiece?
We would know about it if we weren't. It's paused at the moment, though.
Jeb says it's a pit that merges cavern layers. What does a pit look like? Is it usually an X?
Be able to see it in the world.
Oh, I guess.
Going down.
Maybe it just leads down one without actually going to the next cavern layer.
I'm just zooming down now to see. No, we can't see it.
Oh, it's TV static.
Well, yes. If there's a pit here that we've not quite seen, that could be fun. Well, I've never had a cavern yet destroyed by things from the deep.
That's good.
The things from the deep, it gets very kind of...
You might need to let it go a few ticks to discover it, says Jeb.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
I can't do it.
What's that on the water? Are those spiders?
No, I don't see any. There's a pond grabber there.
Ah, okay, good. It looks
it's
terribly
pond
like a
grabbers.
spider. I spooked myself with my talk about spiders. And now I'm nervous.
They are little tiny grubby insects running around. Well, at least the little ones are. Okay, let's get the military. Let's get the squads.
I can't do it.
Move over here. Let's go see what's over there.
Is this to the right, the edge of the map?
Huh?
Is this to the right, the edge of the map?
No, it's just as far as we can see.
Ah, okay. I was worried that the cavern leads on to another section of the...
Is that really I didn't think we
Silent
were
Assassin
that far over.
has to get some sleep. Good night. Thank
Good
you
night.
for joining us.
I'm just going up in the world now. I want to see.
Jeb says you should prepare for a forgotten beast.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was thinking. Oh no, we are very far over actually. Okay. So yes, that is the edge of the map. It's very deep. It's far too. This is too deep for the first cavern. Yep, that's the edge of the map. Still no spiders. See, spiders tend to be more of a first cavern layer thing, but then there's usually worse creatures down here. Oh look, all of my military need a drink as well. Let's see, where else can we head through to try and get spiders? I can't see any more flat land over here.
Wasn't there more flat land one layer down? Somewhere to the right.
No.
One layer up then? 2 layers up. Oh yeah. There's some.
That's where we are. We're just already there.
Sorry. I get a bit lost here.
There is a bit over there, but I mean we can see that. Yeah, the caves can be quite confusing because there can be sort of ceiling level passages that open out beneath you. We could try digging through here, but I don't see any ramps to get Oh, there is some ramps there.
Hmm.
I think we're going to have to call our Fey Dwarf a lost cause.
Oh. Can't we order in a merchant or something? Maybe a merchant has shown up by now? I would have heard.
No. We've spent a long time on pause, though.
Yeah.
I think what we'll do is actually wall this cavern off. And I'll do a bit of exploratory digging upstairs and see if we can find a higher level cave. But I think we're in... I think, yeah, fairly safe that we're not going to be able to satisfy our dwarves' needs. So what we'll do then is that door down there that I told them to put in. I'm going to say don't. I'm going to get the military to go back upstairs. So, because they're in need of a drink now. Right, you haven't dropped any of your gear down there by any chance, have you? Sometimes they do.
Just throw the weapons on the ground. I need a drink.
Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to build a wall here. Use that slate that's immediately underneath you, will be fine. Don't wall yourself out, wall yourself in. And we'll just make sure that we've got some security. Yeah, they get somewhat.
I just can't.
Oh, he's you idiot dwarf. Honestly, if they can, they will. Right, okay. Right, we'll just designate that for removal. Remove construction.
The spotted cow will have to take some rest now
Where's
too.
he going?
Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely night. Cheerios. And
Yes,
Charlie.
good mood to you too. Where are you going?
He's having a bit of a wander.
He's going to end up dead.
Where the heck is he going? What's he doing?
He wants to stand over there.
It's nice there, I guess. Drafty.
Sir, you can't do that there.
Okay, right, you're coming back now. What's happened to my mouse? I've lost my mouse. Oops.
It's saving. Oh, that's
It's just the
terrifying.
end of season. Yeah. I've got it set to autosave every season. Oh, it's upset sound sense actually. I've got lots of music going. Right, let's try that again because the rock is now inside the where we want the wall. So if we were to build a wall here out of that slate, they should stand on this side of the wall.
I can't do it. I just can't.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. So at least we are... Well, we've got that thing to deal with. So let's build another wall. Slate. Yes, slate will do. We don't need anything fancy. We will go back into the caves eventually. I wouldn't normally just wall off the cave system and just leave it like this, but we're not really... Oh, hang on there, that was my way up. I've just walled him.
Whoops.
Yeah, that doesn't work, does it? Oops, that's the world map. Wall of ASCII. You don't want to be looking at that. Right, designate, remove.
Can you build the wall in the spots of the stairs?
I can remove the downstairs and put a floor in. It's a bit difficult. It's a bit tricky when you're dealing with staircases.
Hmm.
So normally when I dig down to the caves, especially if I think I am going down to the second or third layer caves, I zigzag my way down so that I can be sure of being able to block off a cave system. Alright, while they're doing that, I'm just going over to the other screen to sort out sound sense. It's playing. Oh, okay. Not on the other screen then. It seems to be playing 2 tracks at the moment.
Really? I thought it was just a funky bit of 2 things.
There we go. That's better. Okay, right, he's freed himself, so what we'll have to do... Where is it? It's... So that's the one that goes down to the cave, yeah. Alright, so we're going to have to wall that one off. We'll build a wall. We'll just stick it there.
Dwarf is going to stay on the cave side.
Well, I'm going to make it out of some blocks because that way they've got to go out, get the blocks and come back. They'll probably block somebody in there while I'm doing it.
Sniper Joe says that he's pretty sure if you make the bottom stair an up stair, it'll effectively seal it off from the bottom.
What I'd have to do is to dig out the stair that's already there because it's a dug stair.
Is that a merchant arriving?
Yes.
Is the craftsman dwarf still working?
He hasn't gone mad quite yet. Who's this?
Failed to make his artifacts.
Oh.
He's given up hope.
Ah.
Won't even eat a drink.
Look there. Do you see the merchants are going underground?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just not quite in time. Here they are.
How neat.
Well, it's not terrible because
Oh, there's 3 of them. Heavens.
he's gone into a depression rather than going berserk or something. So yeah, it could be worse.
That's at least something.
So we've just lost one dwarf.
On a side note, in theory, we would be coming up to the next swap over. I've realised that Dwarf Fortress can be quite engrossing, and if you and or chat want to carry on, I wouldn't want to interrupt with a silly train journey now.
No, I think we should do your train journey. At least for a bit. You don't have to do the full thing. You could do it for a while. I can always come back to Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, but what about the viewers? I'm not sure if they would prefer me bumbling around foolishly drunk.
Oh yeah, I think we should have a little bit of
Well, you hold on to them while I'll try to make some setup things.
yeah. Because now they're just going to sit and watch me trade for a minute anyway. And of course I will buy some silk. I nearly bought some silk. I must have one of my workshops set up to make stuff out of any cloth rather than just plant cloth. So yeah, we'll have turned it into silk socks or something. Let's see. Right, what I want to do now is sell off any bodywear that's worn out. But it wasn't that long ago that we had the last trader. So I did sell off most of our worn out clothes there. So you get a reasonable amount of cash for your worn out clothes. The worn out stuff is the ones that have got an X in front of them. If it hasn't got an X in front of it, then it's relatively new stuff. If it's in brackets, it's stuff that we've not made ourselves. Not selling any of my shields. Right, but crafts. Now, this is where we have made a ton of stuff. All those totems and amulets and all kinds of things. We'll sell all of those off. Got some toys. I should up the number of toys we're making. Anything else we want to sell? No, I think we're good. Oh, tell you, let's just have a look at the cups. One thing I do is I go through the cups, and if any of the cups are just plain mugs, they're not of a particular quality, I just sell off the lowest quality ones first. It's nice to have higher quality things around your base. It also increases the amount of fun that you might attract your way, because it increases the quality of your base. No, it looks like all of our mugs are of reasonable quality. Yeah, okay. Right, so our dwarves will stop what they're doing and they'll come and bring those goods down to the trader. We'll start seeing them streaming out now. Okay, and sound sense. Oh yes, the liaison. Let me just sort out the music. Okay, we can probably unmute that one now. It just started a bit early, I think. Right, let's discuss our situation. Indeed, he's talking to my mare. This is the outpost liaison. There is much to share. I won't go into that, but we could look at the map and see that he's brought us rumours of what's going on in the outside world. It'll be about artifacts that have been made, about people who've gone to war, be people who've been promoted, and things that have been happening. Okay, now he's asking us, is there anything that we want him to bring on the next caravan? I always ask for something. I can't remember whether there was a particular reason for that, whether it was good practice, whether it encouraged them to bring more stuff. I can't remember. It was a habit I got into and have just kept it going ever since. But yeah, we'll go for rum. We'll say, bring me some rum. I always buy whatever drinks they've got anyway. Okay, so this is just a summary of what we've told them. We don't need to see that. Okay, now he will tell us about their things. So they will pay 214% the normal price for spears or war hammers. They're paying good money for meat and metal bars, headwear, seeds, backpacks, handwear, blocks, toys, threads, and legwear. Well, we're just selling them the stuff that we want to sell them anyway. Earlier on, I will pay attention to that. When we're a bit short on cash, that woofing is just a dog's grown up. Okay, let's get the trader to the depot. So Alan's our trader. Come on, Alan, come on down. Oh, someone's had puppies? I think we've had all of our stuff brought there now. Alan, are you with us? Yes, he is. Okay. Right, how much is all of this stuff worth? Ah, do you see how all of this stuff that's brown is stuff that we've made ourselves? Stuff that's white, we've not made ourselves. And the stuff that's white is all worn out clothing. It's got a bracket around it, and the bracket's saying that it's something that's foreign. It's come from the outside. So these are clothes that people were wearing when they arrived. These are probably the clothes from our original 7 dwarves, because they've been here the longest, so theirs are the clothes that have worn out fastest. They're probably wearing the silk socks that our dwarf lost his mind over. But the stuff that, if we mark up this lot to trade and we say we want to trade everything we brought down, it's only worth 8,000. Last time I emptied onto of course it wasn't that long ago. The humans were here only a few months ago, and it was worth 23,000. Okay, what do we want for 8,000? I bought all kinds of crap from the humans as well. Well, we don't want any ropes or water skins. Those are all toys and musical instruments. We've got some animals in cages. Barrels of stuff. Just start at the top of this list of barrels. Yes, rum and wine, rum, beer, wine, black mamba venom, if we needed venom for something. Oh yeah, so Dwarf Fortress is about to get an update. They've announced that the next update will be out in January. I haven't heard what's in it, but there's been lots of rumours that it's going to include alchemy or some sort of potion or magic or something along those lines, so quite interested to see. Try and devise a way to coat my weapons in venom. Well, I think by the time we get to devising the way of devising that method, we'll have had more traders come, because every trader, all the humans and the dwarves, they always bring venom. It seems to be a very common thing in this part of the world. At the moment, I'm spending a good amount of my money just stocking my library, because books can be quite expensive. We don't need any weapons or armor, because we're pretty well. If we haven't made everything, then we're in the middle of making it at the moment. We've got as good as you can buy. They won't sell us anything better than we can make ourselves. We don't need any leather bags. We don't need any seeds. I do have some sand in stock in case anybody gets a desperate urge to make glass. I can always do that. Dye, more plant seeds. We're okay for plant seeds. We make our own chests. They've got some gypsum plaster. Whenever I see gypsum plaster, I always buy it. When I start off, I always bring some gypsum plaster with me. They use gypsum plaster to make plaster casts if someone gets a broken leg, and there's going to be there will be broken limbs, broken bones, and it's not the easiest thing to come across. So I get it when I see it. Okay, cloth bins. Do you know, I bought a shed load of wool as well from the traders, the last traders, and I didn't buy any silk. I almost thought about it. Okay, well, I'm not buying giant cave spider silk because it's just too expensive. It's not worth the money. But I'm buying every bit of leather that I can get. And yeah, we will buy every bit of silk that we can get. It's a bit sort of shutting the door after the horse has bolted, but we will. It's no bad thing to have a good amount of silk, especially now that I know we're not just, because I was expecting to just be able to open up the cavern within a few minutes. It was actually something I thought we'd do on this stream. But I thought we'd do it in a more controlled manner. And I thought the cavern would only be 1 or 2 layers down. with spiders and not with a pit that leads down to the nether regions. It gets kind of Call of Cthulhu down in the nether regions. Okay, so we bought all of their leather and all of their cave spider silk. How much are they selling cheap bolts for? Because what we don't have is any copper. I suppose we could make silver bolts. How much are your silver? Oh no, that's expensive. We're okay for anvils. Well, we could buy more. I do like to buy in a lot of the different meats. So we'll just I buy the meats and the plants while they're here because it's not expensive. And there will be somebody somewhere who is craving hippo sweetbread or lizard brain. And it means that they are less likely to get upset, or they're more likely to be kept happy because they've eaten something that they really wanted. So we've just bought some naked mole dog liver. Chances of us coming across a naked mole dog is, well, it could happen, but it's not that likely. So if someone really wants some naked mole dog, the only way we're going to get it is by buying it. Let's buy some. Somebody somewhere is going to want some passion fruit. Again, this stuff's cheap. So these will all be made into meals, and then any dwarf that's got a particular thing for capers at the moment will have that need satisfied. Okay, I won't buy. We're okay for clothes. We're actually keeping on top of the clothes at the moment. I don't need to buy any of those. I think we've got a good stock of cheese already. Excuse me. So the only thing now is, have they got any books? I've already got a copy of Better Pulleys, and I bought a book called something like The Only Mistake I Made with Pulleys. My Only Pulley Mistake. How many copies of Better Pulley has he got? He must be knocking them out himself. Wow, that one's like 2,000. Pathways to the Author. Let's have that. I haven't seen that book before. It is Clubrass. That's quite expensive. I think we'll give that one a miss. That's probably a good amount, actually. So we'll trade that lot. And we'll call it a day on the trading. Right, the trader can go back to his job. We'll pick all of that stuff up and take it back to our stockyard. And I think Mir is ready to take over.
Am I? I'm not entirely sure. I can't see where I am.
All right, so...
Give me a few moments, please. Also, I haven't set up anything on there.
Yeah. Well, why don't you set up all of the things on there?
I'm trying to. Oh, God. I can only see so little.
Why are you trying to do it through the VR headset?
Good question, because I'm all wired up.
Aren't you... Haven't you got both microphones going at once there?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Ugh.
Right, sorry, I shall just look over at chat. Yeah, I've been missing chat. The way I've got the setup at the moment is a bit awkward. I can't see chat while I'm in front of my microphone. I've got to sort of lean over, which is why I was crashing my truck so much, I'd like to say, earlier on in Euro Truck Simulator. Yeah, Charlie says train, yay!
Okay.
Bernie wishes us all Happy New Year.
Thank you, thank you. Why doesn't it start?
Has Mir gone to bed yet? No, he's not.
No, I'm still here. Still
Yeah, we
wrestling
need
with
still-
a bunch of cables. Why doesn't it... Okay, let's start everything from scratch.
Mir's asleep, or he would have told Sal for saying shitload. Well, Mir was pottering around in the background, setting up the train game that he's going to be playing next is a VR game. So he was just making sure that all of the things were set up for VR. Senpai, sorry. Oh yeah, sorry everybody. We're ignoring you.
Okay. Try number 2.
At least I was scrolled down to the bottom though.
That's true.
So what are you actually doing there, Mia?
Booting up things.
All I can hear is beep beep.
Oh, you can hear that?
Yeah.
I can't hear that. I must be deaf.
It's because
Come on, launch into the thing, please.
okay, Mia is potting around in the background. Let's just let this run for the moment.
Aha! See the home environment. It's if I put. But listen, I for some reason voting.
But I shall. I'll be reading chat, won't I, Mia, while you're playing?
Yes, please.
So at that point, we will start paying attention to you. It was just that while Mia was setting up the VR gear, he wasn't paying attention to chat, and neither was I. Sorry, chat.
Sir, you can't do that there.
I can't do it.
I still hear.
Well, let's get about the rest of our business. They've put beds down here, so I can turn all of these into bedrooms now. Don't you have problems, Mia, with VR when I'm sat here in the line of sight of the widget?
Correct. Yes, practically. Having problems floating Okay.
I hear another bibbit. Have you played this game before?
I have looked at it.
Right, let's do a bit of fort maintenance so we can get them gentrifying a little more. I'll get them to do to here. I would like them to dig out that bit of wall there. I'll take all of the gems out of the wall before I smooth it. and they can engrave the bit that they have already smoothed. I don't engrave the outside wall just in case we ever need to expand out that way. Because if we remove a wall that somebody has engraved a masterpiece into, they get quite unhappy about that.
Sorry, sir, I can't do it.
Alright, and while they're doing that, I would like to go up and do a little more work up here. Put the box select on. So from here to there, out of nice blocks. Yes, all the way out of nice blocks. And all of that out of nice blocks. We'll just doing a little bit at a time. And we can also take down a few more trees that are going to be in the way for the next bit of floor.
I can't do that there.
It all feels very peaceful and quiet in the world. Oh yeah, right, so we need to build a jail. And somewhere for our captain of the guard. So he's going to want an office and a bedroom as well as jail cells. So what we can do is, say we put his bedroom there. We'll put the jail cells on this side. A good size for the jail cells is 4x4. That way, if you put a prisoner in a corner, actually, wouldn't it be more sensible if I, did it like this? Let's just make that into a block and then cut it up. And then I can just make that longer. Yeah, if you put a prisoner in the corner, they can reach the other three. So you can give them drinks, you can give them artwork to look at. Actually, thinking about it, if I was to put a prisoner there, they could reach around them. When you imprison people, they can get really, depressed. And handling that, so that once they're released, they've had enough good experience from inside there, from during their imprisonment, it's a bit of a saving grace. It can just stop them from going insane. So we'll dig it out like that. I did mean to check that we didn't actually trap any dwarves in the staircase while I was digging down here. I said I'll deal. What is... Oh, it just looks strange, I thought. Is that... Why is that a darker one? Is that just because I've got a dig command marked on it? No. I thought maybe that was the pit we found. Okay. Animals. We need to slaughter some more animals. Keep especially the turkeys under control. That's my Discord going beep beep. No, that's Mia's computer. When things plug in or out, it's because we're set up to be able to hear each other's PCs and things. So I get that same beep beep when he switches his computer off.
For some reason I have to redo the entire room setup.
Actually, that one does sound like Discord. That's slightly different. Have I not got... Oh, I've not got... Oh, of course. Because it's a new installation of Discord since I got this laptop. And I've not got the streamer safe version on it.
I can't do it. I just can't.
So how are things looking on the surface? I'm expecting... I'm surprised we still haven't had...
I can't do it. I just can't.
anything wander onto the map? That's... They need to be tanned. I'm sorry, I'm slightly distracted by Mia's doing very interesting things at the moment. He's walking around the room holding what appears to be a magic wand in his hand.
That's me.
Holding it out at arm's length, and it's like a glowing stick. So what, you're telling it the play space?
Yep, I am. For some reason, it confused the play space a little bit and decided, yes, you're now lying on the floor. Which makes viewing VR things a bit difficult because virtually everything is just a deep drop now. How do I start the home?
What?
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's see if I can. That is in the home now. That's good.
Okay, Mia is putting on his gear.
I am.
Isn't there a bunch of stuff that we need to do over here, though?
Yes, there is lots of stuff that needs to happen. However, I need us to do those things.
Okay. Ah, Boris is saying, yeah, that's us, sorry. Beeping in Discord. Oh, I could just close Discord, of course. Planning has to happen sometime. Oh, you mean the chat in Discord? Usually it happens before the task is begun. Yeah, that's what the NID's all about. We do our planning once we've started. Yeah, I'm in RAW mode following the laser pointer. Yeah, that was kind of what it was like, actually. It's like, I'm supposed to be running a fortress here, but there's a shiny light running around the room.
Aha! Okay, I've got it now.
Oh, right. Mia's set up.
There are things that you need to do now. However,
Okay.
I can, in theory...
Should we check that people can hear you okay? Your microphone's working okay?
Do me a favour. First off, move your...
Yes, I can. But don't I need to save my game first? And are we showing your camera rather than my camera?
Yes, would be doing that. I'm trying to get to yes, but... Go to OBS. Clicking on it. Clicking on it.
Hang on. Pause.
Okay.
Okay, do I do this then, Mia?
Yes, please. First off, roll your chair out of them. Secondly, collapse. So we might need to start.
Well,
to use
I mean, people can hear that because we're live. Me collapsing my microphone while I'm live is probably not a good thing.
Fair point, fair point. Stop the stream, please.
Okay, people, we shall be back shortly. I can't do that, Mia, because the screen is on VR.
I know. I'll cut them after. Oh wait.
Take the VR off, Mia, while you just... Mia. 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 All right, we'll be back in just a moment with Conductor.